Off Work Sports, having fun with it again. I love this NBA. I love sports in general. That's why you can have 40 subscribers or 5 subscribers and still talk about these games, because you just got a passion for it, and this is fun, right? So it's easy for me to do this. I want to get into the OKC Thunder, right? They lost Westbrook, Mr. Fashion Man, okay? They made a couple of trades. Were able to obtain, obviously, Chris Paul in that movement for Russell Westbrook. But in that clamor, they also achieved or gained a couple talents that may take them further as far as long-term than Russell Westbrook would have took them. So I want to get into it. You know, I kick it off with who the hell's Professor X's men to go to war? The mutants. The guys with the big X on their forehead are going to have to score. I'm going to, believe it or not, Oklahoma City Thunder actually have a legit 3-person borderline all-star players on their team. 3 guys that can average 20 points, either 8 assists or 8 rebounds on their team. All right, I'm going to go through it. I was surprised when I looked at this roster, and I think, no offense, Russell Westbrook has been a name for OKC. However, in the long term, other than trading Jeremy Grant, that was stupid. They have great potential. This was an awesome move. Let's go ahead and take a peek. All right, and maybe 4. Obviously, Chris Paul comes over. All right, even at his old age with his injuries, Chris Paul can still give you double digits, 18-8, 18-9 all day long on one leg. On one leg. All right, next up. All right, we know Chris Paul. I don't got to go too deep into him. They got from the LA Clippers 2, I think, legitimate borderline all-stars. See, people forget about Danilo Gallinari all the time. If you don't know, there was a Luka Doncic before Luka Doncic, and this was him. And he was that in Denver for a little bit. A superstar. So he comes over, he joins the Oklahoma City Thunder in a reboot. He was the scoring leader for the LA Clippers during those wonder years where they were making the playoffs out of nowhere and people were still saying, how are they achieving this? They get Danilo Gallinari. All right? And with that, the draft pick that was paying them dividends, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I mean, how much more better does it get for this team to be able to get 2 borderline all-stars? Now, with that being said, for the team that trades away their youth, obviously it panned off for the Atlanta Hawks in trading on Dennis Schrader and getting Trae Young. But don't sleep on Dennis Schrader, another guy who I think was leading to be a Rondo with more scoring capabilities. Doesn't quite have the vision of Rondo as we see now, but man, they got Schrader. They got Dennis Schrader. So they have 4 guys that could potentially, and that's hence why probably they're looking at trading Chris Paul. This team is pretty good. I mean, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Great job by this team. All right. Only stupid move was trading Jeremy Grant. I have no clue why. I think they would have been in the playoff contention if they were able to keep Jeremy Grant. Leading the anchor inside is obviously Steven Adams. I have big hopes for him, but Steven, you're too old now. I can't say you have upward mobility or upward growth, but he is a very solid center in the NBA. He's on the upper echelon in my opinion. He's in the top 15 for centers in the NBA. That's great to have. They may look to move him if they're in a reboot. Okay? Talent-wise on the outside, they were always strong on the wings, and I thought this is why they made the move. However, when they got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, it changed things. I love Hamidou Diallo. I love Terrence Ferguson. 2 young wings who have the upside to be higher than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. However, when you look at the handling ability of Shai, and that's the new NBA, it's all about the dribbles. Shai is superior to those 2, hence why they haven't shown the growth. Terrence Ferguson is becoming a nice spot-up 3-point shooter for a team in the form of a Danny Green. Think of an athletic Danny Green. He can become that. and he can get paid for that. We also have Hamidou Diallo, who is becoming a defensive-minded monster for this team, and I'm excited about his progression for this year. Does he continue to grow defensively? Because that's where they need his help. Other than that, again, last year I thought they were probably the most athletic, scariest, most athletic team in the league because they have Paul George. Remember, Paul George and Russell Westbrook were there with Jeremy Grant, so expectations failed last year. But then they add on in the draft Darius Bazley, the young rookie, is coming in. I would call him straight out of high school, played in the G League. Really like what I see from Bazley. I think there's great potential there. Another steal. Again, great job to the scouts. They put the teams together. The teams just never finish, all right? That's what it comes down to. There comes a point where you either blame the coaching or the players. In my opinion, it's the players. They don't come through when they need to. I had them as a dark horse last year. I'm still disappointed from last year to make the championships, but they didn't. They couldn't beat the Blazers. So with that said, Bazley comes in as another addition. Maybe that's why they traded Jeremy Grant, but he's in a similar ilk, except he comes in with a much better three-point shot, big athletic player. I think of Jabari Parker from Atlanta Hawks with a little bit more slender frame. I think he's going to be exceptional, but maybe give him 2 years for growth. Deion Burton's still there, one of my most favorite. I used to call him Zion before Zion. Watch some old tapes with Deion Burton, and you would think he's a 6'4" Zion Williamson. Neg me if you want, but he's an extremely talented player. If he was given the development, he could be a true force in this league. He is a guard forward, was able to lean out his body to 240. And I think if he was given the minutes, he would be an extremely profitable player off of the bench, maybe a 10-6 player, 10.6 rebounds, 4 assists. Some team needs to get him in the mix. They could be proved to be profitable for some team in the NBA if they give him a chance. I think there's too many roadblocks in front of him now with the Oklahoma City Thunder for him to make it. They drafted Lukenz Dort, another athletic guard in the ilk of Russell Westbrook. Same likeness. Great job for them, except he's not a point guard. I like Lukenz Dort. We'll see what he can do. Haïtien La Boule, that's the name there. I believe he has of Haitian descent, so shout outs to him. Now continue on. Devin Hall. Devin Hall comes in, point guard. I don't know how he made this team. God bless his soul. I mean, that's amazing. I didn't think he would make this team, but he has. We'll see what we get from him. I think he'll be in the G League all season long, but great job by them. Again, I know Devin, but I just didn't know why they picked him up with all the guards. But it's a guard league now. Mike Muscala's there to stretch the floor. You got him. You got Abdul Nader. Your standard, I call him, what's that dude's name? Jared Dudley type of player. You need that grit player on your team. Mr. Nader is going to play that role. Let's see what he can do. He will get some minutes from a defensive end. Nerlens Noel, another dude. All Haitian team on this squad. Nerlens Noel joins them. Exceptional shot blocker. Speedy big man. Always wanted him to gain weight. Wanted him to get to 240 and still have that athletic ability. He would be in a different scenario. He is Clint Capella light right now. I think if given the opportunity, he could produce in the same way if he had that type of guard play or that type of system. A big mistake by their team, by his agent, by not moving him to the Rockets to be a backup for Clint Capella. That would have proved to be great dividends, and he would have fit perfect in the system. A near replica of Clint Capella. But he's on the Oklahoma City Thunder. He has Chris Paul, so Chris Paul is going to make him look good, and hopefully he can show himself out and maybe move into the starting position if they move Steven Adams, because teams will be vying for Steven Adams who are on the championship run. Okay, now we got Justin Patton, a big 6'11" bruiser. I like Patton. I like his ability. He also shows some range, so that's the exciting thing with him. You got to love that. So a big guy with range that can play for your team that you can develop, exciting. So we'll see what happens with Mr. Patton. Great achievement for them and getting him late in the draft. Either he can be a great practice player or somebody you develop to be your new bench scorer on your team. Adrian Roberson comes in, defensive god, comes back in, is supposed to help the team. So again, I think Ferguson's taking that spot, Roberson. I'm sorry. I think he's just too old. We'll see what happens with him, with Andre Roberson, but I just think there's too many guards. They're guard heavy. They could use to trade some of these guards, get some draft picks, continue to develop, see what you get, or try to make a run for the playoffs. They got enough to make the playoffs, but it'll be a tight run to the 8th slot. The West is so packed. I mean, I wish they were on the East Coast. It'd be easier for them. But right now they're on the West, and it's going to be tough, and I would urge them not to win. I hate to say it. They need to tank and try to see what they can build through the draft. This team's been there for a while. They need to move Adams. They need to move Paul. Get big draft picks in return and rebuild. I got this team, even though I just said playoffs, I think they'll be the third to last team in the West, and then we'll see where they go from there. It is a tough run there. Minnesota's down there as well. There's a couple teams, Memphis, Minnesota, and this team are probably going to be in the bottom heap because there's so much talent on the West Coast, but we shall see. Off Work Sports, just my likeness, giving you the lowdown on OKC. Oklahoma City still there if they want to be, but I urge them to make the trades. Get the draft picks built. Off Work Sports, signing off. Peace.